Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We are back again as always with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned over on their website. As always, if you enjoy these weekly reviews, do make sure to leave a like. Stumbling a little bit there, but that is a-okay as we go ahead and get rolling here. So, starting off this week, pretty big week, I will say. Lots modern. It's sort of been the case for a long time at this point. I just think Modern has so many good cards that just come to sale all the time. And, part of that's good, part of that's bad, depending on the route you want to take about it. But it's more of the same this week. And I did win something, so we'll talk about that as we get into it. But people say I'm not a Modern guy. I talk through a lot of these auctions. I know a little bit. I know how to pronounce Estevan now, so we're getting better. But, starting off here at 550, 560, we have a Dennis Bergkamp Eminence card from 2018. Pretty nice looking one there, goes for 560. Next to it, a Messi IP auto. So, step down, but a step up in player, surely. 576 there for the IP auto. Red Specimen 2022 Chrome insert here, goes in a PSA 9 for 580. I always thought those were kind of cool looking cards back when they came out. There's a lot of cards to choose from nowadays, but still. Topps Now MLS auto goes for 600 again. Gosh, man, they seem so expensive for how much Messi signs, but at the same time, it's a Messi signature on a modern card, and it's got to be worth something. Cristiano Ronaldo next to it out of Leaf, 1 of 1. It's just it's so crazy to me. I know Leaf sucks, and we all hate Leaf, and everyone hates Leaf, and no one likes Leaf. I'm sure there's someone out there that does, and they're yelling at the screen. But this certainly shows it. A 1 of 1 Leaf Ronaldo next to a just Topps Now IP Messi auto, and they go for the same price, Just tough, really. But nonetheless, green Panini National Treasures next to it. Erling Haaland goes for 600 in a PSA 10. Initially, I thought this was kind of strong, but then PSA 10, you give a premium for that. Maybe it's 200 in a 9. Maybe it's 150 to 200 raw. It doesn't seem crazy. Green isn't people's favorite, but it certainly is one of the rarer of the parallels. I guess this is emerald technically, but it's green, really. So, anywho, I thought that was an okay sale. This crack Fulbito 1981 Maradona goes for 630 and a 2. And I looked it up. Ultimately didn't get a ton of comps. Basically what I was finding was, ones were anywhere from like 3 to 500 and twos, generally were in this range. But there aren't many sales. There were only a couple other PSA 2s I could find, so not an easy one for sure. Next to it, a couple more Messis here. We have the Select Tie-Dye out of 49. They sort of changed it around a couple years here. Maybe it was just the sort of base level, but this goes for 630. You have the Messi IP Auto for 660 from 2018 Prism. Above that, this gold Thiago Silva from First Year Chrome in a PSA 10 does 660. And wanted to look that up. Of course, there's a lot of people collecting 2017 Chrome, a lot of people specifically collecting golds, and it's a pop 1 of 10, and I could probably rattle off like 4 or 5 people that collect this by itself, and I certainly don't know everyone that collects it, so, you gotta imagine there's a good amount of people out there, and this price certainly says so. Last auction sale was $480. I'm gonna check same cert because I'm overly into people's business. It's not, but I'm just interested. I'm not quite sure. Is it the same one from here? Maybe it is. So that was $450. This goes for $660. So it goes up $200 off of a bin price from 2 months ago. Looks pretty good to me. Last year you could have got this for $250, $300, $115 apparently in January 2024. And before that, anywhere from $100 to $300. So generally, it was about a $200 to $300 card. Now it's a $600 card. Clearly shows some collectors there and willing to go after that. And, feels pretty strong. Thiago Silva, gold out of 50 doing, getting into the top 100 certainly isn't bad. Next to it, we have a Peacock Choice Lionel Messi. This goes in a 10 for 660 along with the PSA 9 Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll see a couple more of those, and then we'll look at the chart here. So, where are they at? They're in this row. But we'll take a slight glance at this row. Orange Sapphire 2024 Ronaldo for $690 in a 9.5 grade, along with the Haaland PSA 10 rookie. This foosball, I feel like, bottomed at $300 to $400, so seemingly up a decent bit at $700 now, maybe double. And next to it, a Panini National Gold David Beckham. It doesn't have a number in the listing. I don't know if it has a number on the back. I don't know. It's a nice looking card. I'm sure in hand it's got that gold vinyl sort of look to it. Wish it would have had a number on there, but maybe someone out there knows the print run. Anywho, above that, 2 PSA 9s here, so we'll look at the chart. And pretty good chart. What do you say? Could have got this for $200 in February of 2024. Now, on a good sale, 900. On a bad sale, 700. And could have had this in October for 500 at times. So doing pretty good. Definitely a step down from the last one. If I had to imagine, the last one was a bin. This one isn't. Let's see if that's true. Yeah, the $900 sales are bins, $800 sales a bin, $900 sales a bin, so that sort of checks out and makes sense, really. In between those, the 2018 Chrome Sensations Messi PSA 10 out of 25 orange goes for $700 there. We'll see a red sell here in a few, so we'll talk more about that as we get up there. We have a orange Sapphire 2020 Messi PSA 10 for $750. Personally, I mean, you offer me the Ronaldo 2024 compared to a Messi 2020, I'll take the Messi all day at these prices. Granted, this orange is out of 25. I didn't really recognize that at the beginning, but still, I mean, it's much later in his career. I mean, nearly end career. Both of these are, I guess, but like 2020, you're still getting Messi Barca, and I think that's a big deal. So personally, at $750, I don't think that's crazy, but you might think I'm biased when we scroll a little further up. A couple more Messis. This out of 10 from 2023 Topps Argentina goes for $780. Surprisingly, shockingly, weirdly the highest selling IP auto. I don't know if this is true. We might see other ones later, but to see a MLS Chrome doing more than Prism and all that other stuff, it's certainly odd, but it is what it is. Above those, a 2016 Select Camo Ronaldo goes for $810. I like the Select die cuts from this year. Personally, I definitely own a couple, I want to say, of different parallels. I don't own a camo, but I don't think this is a crazy price if you're trying to put together a run. 9.5 is not bad. 9 on the corners, but these in general are a really hard grade. Pulisic one that I'm really sort of tuned into. And I recently got a PSA 10 on his blue out of 249. And that was a crazy grade for me because I had only ever really seen 9s. I think in total there were maybe 70 or 80 of the Pulisic graded, and I think only 7 10s, something like that. So it's like a 1 in 10 gem rate, if not lower. And so to get a gem on this, while it is BGS, I still think is certainly worth something. 2023 of both Messi and Lamine Yamal, a couple sticker autos here. One's a rookie Lamine Yamal, the other's a 1-of-1 Leaf Messi. So make of those what you will, but interesting to see them next to each other there. This row, we have a Maradona 1-of-1 from Modern, which is certainly interesting, going for $930. Clearly some attention there for a vintage player in Modern cards. 2022 Eminence patch auto for Luka Modric goes for $1,020. And then finally a Gabriel Martinelli rookie Prism Gold for the Arsenal collectors out there. PSA 10 Pop 1-of-4 goes for $1,050. Above that, National Pride PSA 10 goes for nearly $1,100 for Messi. I know that those are kind of desired and clearly, but still seems pretty strong. I mean, next to Messi rookie, granted the rookie's a PSA 6 of one of the easier to grade cards, so, balance that out however you may, but got that next to it for the same price. And then finally a Red Choice PSA 10 on the far left for $1,100. Row above that, we have an Estival Orange PSA 10 for $1,100. We'll see another Estival Obsidian here in a few, so maybe we'll hold out on that for the moment. Couple good Haalands, maybe a few good Haalands. There's definitely a lot of Haaland rookies that sold in this auction block, so this sort of gets us started on that path. A PSA 9 green out of 99 from Chrome UEFA Champions League goes for $1,100. And personally, it doesn't seem like a bad price. I'll probably see that on a lot of Haaland, but, and granted, it's a big price differential, but $700 for a sticker, or you could get, another $400 more into it, up your cost basis 40%, and get yourself a Chrome Champions League numbered card. I think that's an easy decision for me, but at the end of the day, I didn't make these decisions because I didn't buy it, so... I'm just one man, one opinion, didn't buy it, so what's it worth? Who knows? PSA 7 next to it, number 62, goes for $1,100. Not a great price there compared to a PSA 6 of the facsimile auto before it at $1,080. The interesting sort of talk about this, again, as always, there's Vintage Discord link down below. There's some chatter in there about comparing the green and the whites and how they do price-wise. From what I've generally seen, I think on the high grades, there's definitely sort of a clear delineation, blue, green, white in terms of the Messi team set. But I think on these lower grades, there's a lot more money at least in the very bottom end in terms of the facsimile auto, because I think it's just a nice looking card. I mean, you get like an autograph on it. Granted, it's not real, but it's nice looking. You get the 71 bis sort of action shot, and it's a nice looking card. Now, the fundamentals behind it, it's much easier to grade, so I always think it's going to be lesser per grade compared to the others. Not to say they're bad cards, but they're just much more plentiful, and I think long-term that's really going to matter. But, you know, in these short-term times where the floor is really high on some of this stuff, it might not matter as much. And so I think that's what we're seeing here, if I had to go ahead and take a guess. Moving on up, we have a Lamine Yamal Select tie-dye field level for 1100. You know, I know Lamine Yamal has a lot of rookies, and I know Esteval is pretty hyped right now, but seeing a field level Lamine Yamal for nearly the same price as an orange Obsidian Esteval, I'd take the Lamine Yamal. Granted, he probably has more rookies. I'd say it's a safe bet. So, you know, you got that working against you there. And this is PSA 9. The Obsidian was a 10, and Obsidian's hard to get a 10 in, all these different things. So, you know, there's more at play than meets the eye, I guess. But 2022 Chrome Black Refractor Messi next to it in a PSA 10. I didn't think this was crazy. Black refractors, we'll talk more about it here soon, but I think in modern, like, red tops and gold panini are sort of, other than one of ones, like, step beneath that. I think those are really sort of the chases. But I think black refractors out of 10 have a pretty good case to be made as well, because they're fairly similar to the reds, fairly memorable in terms of parallel, and I don't think they get thrown around that much. You know, you always worry with parallels if they end up being in other sets where they're out of 150 or much more plentiful. I don't see that with the blacks, but I still don't think they're quite red level. But for PSA 10, I didn't think this was crazy, but that's me. Again, next to it, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 2023 Finest. Of course, the throwback image here to Inter Milan days, but thought this was strong. Granted, it is a 10-10. It is numbered out of 5. I think that's some of the red tops doing the work there. Zlatan did start signing semi-recently, so I think his autos still hold a little bit of a premium. Granted, they don't look good at all, and personally, I would not be interested, but I understand the appeal, and 1,300 there feels pretty good. Above that, we have a Refractor 9.5, Kylian Mbappe doing 1,300. I'd have to imagine those are up. Most Kylian Mbappe and Haaland are in general, and I would imagine the sort of iconic cards would be much the same. Obsidian Erling Haaland Color Blast in a 10 for 1,300 with a gold eye appeal sticker, if that matters to you, along with a Neymar out of 5 Topps Dynasty 2022 doing 1,320. Above that, we have the gold Esteval I was referencing a second ago. We'll talk about that momentarily. 1978 Crack Maradona in a 2.5 for 1,350. Feels like the 2s have been about 1,000, so, you know, a 2.5 for 1,350 feels pretty fair, at least from here without digging in further. It looks like a pretty good copy, a little OC top to bottom, but left-right looks good, and image looks pretty good. I mean, to me, that's a 2.5 I'd be happy with. Esteval next to it, the gold etch PSA 8. Sort of my thinking here, I mean, the orange, I know it's a PSA 10, but the orange sold for 1,100. Give me the gold all day. I think the floods are so much cooler than the other parallels from Obsidian. And a gold flood, too, out of 10. I mean, you know, seems like an easy pick. I looked at some of the Messi here. So this is the PSA 6. I didn't have a PSA 6 of the white because Card Ladder doesn't care about soccer. Love the Card Ladder, folks. Love the website. You know, I think it's really helpful. Man, I just wish they had a soccer guy or someone that at least cared, you know, and could, I mean, because we don't even have all the Messi rookies in here. I mean, it's a mess, you know, come on. I mean, the guy, you don't have his rookies in there. It's just, it's depressing. But anywho, PSA 6 of the, well, this is PSA 9. Sorry, I'll go to the 6 now. Excuse me. But PSA 6 here, this was a $200 to $300 card and is currently hanging out at about, you know, 1,100-ish. We haven't seen a sale in a month or so, but that's about what the white did. And again, sort of shows the strength in the low grades on the white compared to the blue and green. Anywho, what we were really looking for there was the Esteval Gold. I was interested just sort of where it was at. And PSA 9 Gold did 1,400, so an 8 Gold doing the same price of that is certainly a jump, but you know, not a massive one, I wouldn't think. And then before in April of last year and December of the year before, we had 600 and 800. So ultimately up a little bit, but compared to how good his market seems to be doing, I don't think it's crazy. Cole Palmer next to it, out of 15, sticker auto rookie, goes for 1,350. Don't see a lot of Cole Palmer in these auctions, so it's nice to be able to have some sort of insight on what his stuff is doing. Above that, we have a Messi PSA 10 2010 Panini card for 1,380. This is a pretty hard set to get a 10 in. If I do remember correctly, a lot of miscut and just terrible things wrong with it. The surface is also pretty tough, so a 10 for 1380 there definitely is a pretty good number. To me, I know people like the 2006 card. I've always liked this card better in terms of look. I know it's not first World Cup, but I think it's such a good looking card. And, the 2006 cards, I think in a 10 are probably like 5 to 10K cards. Like, they're up there. And, personally, I think for 1300, this is a much cooler card to me. But it doesn't hold as much significance, of course, not being first World Cup. But still, I like it a lot myself. But next to a 2023 Premium Red Topps Crystal out of 5. PSA 10 Messi goes for 1400. We'll keep this in mind. I do have a green thing above it that I won that's sort of comparable to this, and I certainly would choose over it as I did, but I just think it's a good reference point. Next to it, Select Field Level 2016. This is first year of Field Level 4 Select. Out of 30 does 1400, which truthfully in the world of like Select Field Level 2016 isn't that nuts. Now a BGS 9 grade's not ideal. Certainly rather have that in PSA, but people pay good numbers for the much higher print runs. The white out of 99 is a fan favorite. It does sort of have like a power design to it. It's definitely unique, but I feel like those sell for near this and good grade at times. So a tie-dye out of 30 doesn't seem crazy. Up another row, we do have my win, but we'll talk about that momentarily. I did like this Cristiano Ronaldo out of 149 red. This has always been a card to me that seems really cool, but to the general market, I don't think they care. Everyone seems to be World Cup Prism or bust. Ronaldo's claim to fame internationally is the 2016 Euro. Some talk about, he didn't play that big of a role in the final, this, that, whatever. But ultimately won the Euro. That's sort of his claim to fame internationally. And a color match Prism from that year out of 149 certainly is a card worthwhile. 1500 there. I did take a peek in terms of comps and don't have a ton here to look at. So 2100 on the sale before it. Then you have 500 back here, 400 back here, 500 back here. So certainly up quite a bit. Not an all-time high sale, down from the best offer, but that's sort of going to be the case as we've come to expect. So I think it's a really cool card personally, but I'm almost in the position of like a Ronaldo apologist at this point. It's just weird to me because Ronaldo, Messi, I've never really had firm stances either way on like, this guy's my guy. I almost always have just taken the approach of saying whoever's the lesser desired between the two should be the guy that gets my attention, because to me, they're just two peas in a pod. Yeah, Messi won a World Cup. Yeah, he has a couple more Ballon d'Ors. I don't really think it matters a whole lot. I think anytime, and you can see this online, anytime you bring up Ronaldo or Messi and start talking about them, it devolves into Messi-Ronaldo talk and this guy versus this guy. And they're clearly the two dueling competitors for this era. Ultimately, Messi won a couple more things. He didn't win a Euro, but, kind of how that goes. But it's interesting. I just think that they're ultimately linked forever in terms of soccer. So I just don't think there's any separating them, really. I can understand why Messi gets a bit more of a price than Ronaldo, but I think to some degree that might eventually level out. Like, I think a lot of the big collectors in America collect Messi. I think if you go overseas to, Asia or some different countries, maybe in, the Middle East, once they start collecting a bit more, I think Ronaldo is going to be as big of a name as Messi, if not bigger, in terms of stardom, because he just has the extra level. So that's me making the case for Ronaldo as I bought the Messi card next to it. So 2018 Chrome Superstar Sensations Red Refractor out of 10. This was my pickup of the auction block, and I've just been in this sort of pit of gold paninis and red chromes and modern guys and buying and selling a little bit. I do some flipping here and there, and I've sold some lately at price points where I feel like this Messi is an easy pickup for me. One thing with a market like this, like red chromes, gold paninis, you can go on eBay or Alt or whatever site you want to and look up like lowest price that they're listed for. And I think that gives a really good idea of sort of the bottom of their market, at least for what's available right now. You always wondered, World Cup on the way, but I just think chrome reds are so important for Messi and a lot of these modern guys. And to get a early chrome Barca playing days, I know it's an insert, but I kind of lean a little more inserts. I like the uniqueness of inserts a little bit. So ultimately I picked that up. You could say it's a overpay to some extent, and I could understand that because the orange down here and a 10 went for half the price. Again, personally, I sort of mentioned it earlier, I don't care as much about grading premium in modern. And My short segment as to why that is, PSA, they exist to tell you the condition of cards. That's ultimately what they do. PSA tells you what condition your card's in, or at least they try to. And that's their main focus. But ultimately what they do is they create rarity where rarity doesn't exist, right? On these base 2006 Ronaldos, if you get a 10, that's rare. 8, 7, 6, doesn't really matter as much. So PSA is creating rarity, but in modern, rarity already exists. I don't need to be told that my orange doesn't have a scratch. I just rather have the red. And clearly, I was willing to go after it, paid, nearly double the orange, and felt good about it, even though, technically comparisons, all these different numbers that I could throw at myself would tell me it might be an overpay. I still feel good about it, but 35 watches there, not the best, but I like the card, man. I like the card. I like the price point. It's certainly higher than it could have been in the past, but at the same time, Messi, Ronaldo, that's the case for everything right now for the most part. So I'm happy with that. But Orange Scores Club next to it from 2024 Copa America goes for $15.90 in a PSA 10. And that caps us for page 1, or page 2. On to page 1 we go. Top half of the auction block, and this is where it's very strong. I mean, 2K almost to get into the top half of the auction block is significant, I think, for soccer. Don't know what happened here in this listing title. Circa rookie auto for Lamine Yamal. This goes for $1,700 and a 10/10 grade. And again, just the absurdity of modern, a Topps Now card with an IP auto going for, nonetheless, 2024 Helix next to it. I believe this is a case hit. I remember people sort of talking about it highly and saying it was the thing. And seemingly this price is doing pretty good. I mean, it's not Kaboom levels. I don't think it's Color Blast levels either, but it's trying. This one I thought that was a decent deal here. A green chrome Haaland. Now it is up from past sales. As you can see here, it bottomed at about $900 last year, about a year ago to the day. But ultimately, when you look at this graph, it's up, but for a long time, this was a 4K card all day, every day. And we're in a pretty good point in the hobby now, and it's a 2K card. And I just think, man, it's very interesting to look at Haaland's graph, because he didn't go down at the World Cup exactly. And that's probably because no one really expected him to do anything at the World Cup. It's Norway, they weren't in it. So, I get it. But it's crazy that then in 2023, it went from 4K to, in 2024, down to 1,000, essentially. And that's just such a massive drop during a time where it didn't feel like the hobby was dying. Soccer in 2023 actually was... It was a little dicey. It certainly felt like some air had been taken out of the room. But, man, to drop 75%, it's just something I wasn't really aware of until now, looking back, how big of a drop it had during a time where soccer was, it was low, it was a little depressed, but it wasn't doing that. But all to say, even 1,800 on that, I don't think's bad, personally. I really like that pickup. Above it, your choice of modern here, and again, sort of an example of why I would take the Haaland. These are stained glasses and color wheels, and they're case hits, but they're not rookies. They're not rookies for these guys. This is a rookie Haaland, this card is iconic in my mind. I think for everyone, this is an iconic card. These cards, you might know what they look like. You could imagine, based off the case hit, what they are. Color wheel 2022 is probably a little bigger. But still, and Jamie Vardy Gold Power. I know, Jamie Vardy, fun story, Prism, nice brand, but come on, Haaland rookie. Golly. Anyhow, in terms of pricing, I really don't have a lot to add on these. I'm not a huge modern case hit guy, and I can say this certainly feels like it did a good number for that Jamie Vardy. Granted, I see collectors out there. I know there's people that hunt that stuff, but still. Going back to Barca with this row, the Messi Gold Award winners in a BGS 9.5 does 1,900. Did look at this one. Don't know if we still got it here. There it is. So, in terms of past sales, it's about half the price that a PSA 10 did in December. Other sales, PSA 9s have been about this price. So I think it's kind of a deal if you're looking for a grade there. 9 on centering might be the ideal 9 here because, with a borderless card, is PSA really going to be that harsh? I don't know. There does appear to be a bit of scuffing down here, and you always have to be a little concerned that might be on the card, and BGS might have just, looked past it. I don't know, but that would worry me at least a tiny bit. I guess ultimately if you got it in hand and it was on the card, you could just keep it in the slab, but still. Nonetheless, 1,900 there, I didn't go back and look at all the comps, but I can tell you that the lowest comp I could find was $500. There were no sales from 2017, 2018, so we don't have an ultimate floor price, but, something that was at a low $500, gold, first year chrome, out of 50. Granted, I did just buy the second year red for whatever price, and now I'm talking up the first year gold. So do I have a vested interest? I mean, in some roundabout way, maybe. But I just think this was a fair price, or at least a decent pickup if you like this sort of stuff. A chrome gold base Messi from 2017 would probably be, I would have to imagine, like 5 figures, especially in this grade. Maybe it's a little lower, but like it's a big number. I don't follow it exactly, so to get this for a fraction of that, if you like it, not bad. Next to it, Lamine Yamal's here. Take your pick. CGC 9.5 of the BIS or a 2023 Chrome Japanese Gold Mojo. I just always have to go Chrome Gold. I know it's Mojo, I know it's Japan Edition, but hey, man, a BIS doesn't really do it for me. I know for Messi it's big time, but I think Messi was certainly a different era of card than Lamine Yamal is, and a CGC premium as well is kind of tough. Granted, I like CGC and like Pokemon, and I think for sports it has some merit, but I just don't see it getting the premium. Granted, it gets a little bit of a premium here, but not a massive one. This row, Equalizer's Camo Messi out of 20 from 2016 and a 10 goes for 2100, along with a couple Color Blasts Cristiano Ronaldo's for 2130 and 2160. The NBA Silver goes for less, which is certainly something. This row is certainly an interesting one. We always do the take your pick in a row. What do you want? What do you want in this row? Tie-dye Estevao in a 10, marks of excellence with an authentic grade and an auto 9 for R9, or an Erling Haaland Kaboom in a 10. All nearly the same price. Personally, I don't even know, to be honest. I might flip a coin. None of them are really up my alley, but I think that this is one of the very interesting rows that kind of showcases the strength that Modern's had. I mean, this is an out of 30 of a player that certainly is a talked about prospect, but isn't the name. He's not the biggest guy. Not even really close. Anyways. And then you have R9 next to it, marks of excellence, modern auto, throwback card for 2K, and then a Kaboom case hit for 2300. I mean, they're just strong pricing. And, on something like this Kaboom, this is another interesting example with the Chrome where it's like, I'd take the Chrome all day, every day. I know it's a Kaboom. There's more Kabooms than there are Chrome colored rookies for Haaland from Bundesliga. I think, I'd have to imagine. But, I just find that very interesting. Definitely goes to show the strength Kabooms have had. I mean, it's been nuts. But in this row, all felt pretty decent to me, I would think. I know Kabooms are up. This R9 performed pretty strong, and the Estevaos have been roaring as of late. More of the same up here with this white mezzanine out of 20 for 2500. Impeccable auto here of Erling Haaland. I think this is sticker. I thought, actually, let's get in there. That doesn't look very stickery to me. And Impeccable's sort of a brand where it's mostly on card, but I do think you have to worry about stickers. I think there's a Ronaldo later we'll see. A little streaky there on the auto, so, it is what it is. Didn't grade well, but thick card, probably not gonna. You can see that up there. But, yeah, 2500 there for the Impeccable Haaland. Clearly, people like that Impeccable stuff. Even 2024 cards and a PSA 8 doing $2,500, numbered out of 94, not bad. This Chrome Finest, well, it's not Chrome, it's actually Finest. 2019 Finest Topps Prize Footballer Messi out of 50 goes for $2,640. This was an example where, and again, I know I bought the red for, $1,600, $1,500, whatever, and I know, but, I like the prize footballers. I sort of could understand the narrative where it's like, well, Haaland has a prize footballers rookie in his Salzburg kit, and so if that becomes iconic, if it is iconic, there's a lot of translation over to the Finest, and I can see that. I like the look of it. I like a lot of things about it, but I do think it feels pretty strong for a gold out of 50 from a Finest insert. I mean, it's a bit much for me personally, but at the same time, seeing this sort of stuff, again, just shows the strength in Modern holistically at this point. I mean, this row, and I'm not even a Lamine Yamal guy, but a blue auto, color match, I know it's out of 150, but, I mean, come on, I might take a Lamine Yamal at these prices. 1 of 1 select patch Messi next to it out of FIFA. Also interesting to not see that get a huge number, but patch 1 of 1s are a really tough sell because usually the patches aren't that cool. This probably is unassociated, but I'm not sure. If it is, that's even worse if the patch is that bad, but 2,600 there. Doesn't feel super strong, but at the end of the day for the card it is. I could sort of understand it. 2024 Chrome, this felt strong too. I mean, Mbappe, you look at his 2022 auto stuff out of the PSG set that existed for that year, that team set that had the autographs in there. That was his first ever auto, and the autographs were a bit streaky. I mean, they look pretty rough, but That was his first auto, and I see those go for cheaper than this a lot. Now, they might not be the same grade, of course, but, I mean, come on. 2760, again, feels pretty good. But it is on card. I mean, you see, like, I mean, the impeccable Haaland did 2500. I didn't bat an eye at that. I just have never understood the disparity between the first. I always feel like first should matter a little bit more than it does, and it does sometimes. Like Prism, it matters a lot. Chrome, it matters a lot. There's places where it exists where people make it a really big deal. But then, like, Haaland first, or Mbappe first ever autos, even Haaland, like, we'll see a Haaland first auto later. I mean, people don't really care. They don't, and it's weird. I've always felt it's weird, but I at the same time, I don't care that much, so I guess I get it. Gold Benzema above it, 2014 Prism. Of course, gonna pull a big number. This is actually down. This had sold recently, yeah, September of last year, so relatively recently for 4,200. So a decent haircut there for the same copy. I would have to imagine. I didn't check, but yeah, that's the same copy. Ends in 666, which not ideal, but that's how I checked it. 2.8K, sort of in the realm of Prism Golds. That makes sense to me. If Benzema was, a little bit more of a personable figure that was more collectible, maybe it does more. Certainly could warrant it based off of career accomplishments, but there are some takeaways that would lead you the other way. Erling Haaland PSA 10 refractor, 2,800. I felt like that was a good sale. Again, I just keep going back to this green. I know we do sometimes like the deals of the auction, the shills of the auction. Man, that green seems cheap. I know it's a 9, not a 10, but 1,000 less than a refractor. I mean, come on. Come on. That's an easy pick. Granted, there's not a ton of the refractors. Like, they aren't easy either, but PSA 9 next to it for the 89 Messi. This would be an example where on the 9s, they're generally lower. 2,800 isn't that great of a price. I mean, we're seeing, 6s and 7s doing 1.5K. So a 9 for 2.8 is not crazy, but still holding fairly strong, at least compared to last year pricing. Above it, Topps Chrome Lightning Strike Gold out of 50 for 3K here in a PSA 10. Again, I think this is a probably a good price from 2017. I personally like the award winners a lot more. I'd take the award winners in a 9.5 and save myself $1,000 over the Lightning Strike. I just think in 2017 Chrome, when you look on it, people don't really like the Lightning Strike, and I can sort of understand it. Like, the images are good, but the gold and how it sort of like flows around. I mean, it's unique, but it's not like eye-popping, really, and so I think that plays against it usually, but in this case, $3,000 here. I mean, Messi certainly doing his thing. Next to it, Papadasha, Antoine Griezmann for 3,120, PSA 10 grade as well on that, so pretty big time. Papadasha, one of the more premium sort of Topps Chrome sets in terms of modern. I mean, it is the premium Topps Chrome set, I would say, and 3,100 there for a PSA 10. I mean, certainly, again, feels strong, but, it's a big card. It's 1 of 1, big set, PSA 10, first year Sapphire as well, if you care about that. And Griezmann does collect. I don't really think he collects much soccer. He's more into other sports. But whenever you collect cards as a player, that really sort of boosts your collectability, I think, because a lot of people then assume, if I build a big collection of this guy, he will acknowledge it. And it's sort of, the olive branch has been extended a little. And so I think that may play a factor as well. At least generally, I feel like Griezmann has a lot of collectability, more so than I would have imagined that he would have had he not been a collector. But not to say he doesn't deserve it to some degree, because, good player. But nonetheless, Kai Havertz next to it, 1 of 1 Topps Dynasty, first year Topps Dynasty, if that matters to you, goes for 3,200 there with the nice chunky patch. Not ideal place for a blue pen, but, what are you going to do? This row was an interesting one of a take your pick, and in terms of the cards behind it, we have the 2022 NT out of 25 Kylian Mbappe in a PSA Authentic with a 10 auto. Next to it, we have a 2019 Canvas Impeccable Cristiano Ronaldo. Not playing days. He comes back to Man U the year later, but or maybe 2 years later. I'm not quite sure exactly. But 3,700 here. This is a sticker, and it's kind of a not a great sticker auto. It's got a 9 for the card, 9 for the auto. I mean, probably not bad in this set. Getting a 9 on the card's decent. 9 on the auto is not great, but probably, on par for Ronaldo. And then finally, a Topps 2023 foil board red out of 5, PSA 8 with a 10 auto. Nice looking auto. There's definitely some talk to be had around Ronaldo autos because, people pick apart the Messi autos and, like, some look better or worse than others. But like Ronaldo, like this was his auto in 2019. This is his auto in 2023. You know, and I don't know, maybe, you know, but they certainly look a lot different. I would be, if I had to pick one that I feel like is more genuine, this seems pretty genuine to me. Like very rushed, going through it, you know, signing stickers, just getting it done, a little streaky, getting it done. These almost, like, they feel so good to me, you know? Like, in the era of modern where we complain about how players don't try on their autographs and they make them look like trash, to some degree, having them not try and look like trash gives a little bit of authenticity where I'm like, okay, clearly they don't care. Clearly they did this. These are just so nice that I'm like, man, you know, man. Is Cristiano Ronaldo the guy with, you know, the biggest ego in the world? Maybe not. I don't. You can break down his ego however you want. But, like, really big-time person, probably values himself super highly, which maybe is why he's putting this much effort into it. But I also could see it go the other way where he's just not trying that much and maybe has someone else do it. It's just always something you have to be worried about with sticker autos. And just autographs in general, because you don't know if they were witnessed by the employees. You wish you had that guarantee. I'm not trying to break any news here, but I'm just telling you how I feel as someone that actually, I own a couple, I think one, maybe two Ronaldo autographs. Like, I own a couple, but I always think about that with these autographs. Like, man, you know, that looks super nice. And they didn't used to. And I don't know if he just had a big moral shift in his life where he said, I'm going to try more. I don't know what it was, but certainly the effort's there now. Speaking of effort in autographs and the lack thereof, potentially, 2023 Lamine Yamal here, you know, putting his heart and soul into that one. This Orange Lava, I think is what it is. Yeah, it's Orange Lava, goes for 4K and a 910 grade, which, unnumbered, you'd have to imagine it's fairly low numbered, but we'll never know. Next to it, 71 bis, 3.5, so you're seeing basically the floor of 71 bis, 3.5 grade, certainly on the lower end, 4,400 there, which is still holding up really good. I mean, clearly, you know, we saw a PSA 9 of one of the team sets do like 2 to 3K just a little bit ago, so lowest grade bis is still clearly above that. Next to it, gold laser Cristiano Ronaldo out of 15 from 2018 in a 9.5 grade. This goes for 4.5K. Don't know what's going on here. Oh, I looked at the refractor Haaland. Okay, this one just kind of went crazy recently. It went from $800 to 2.8K. So the green was up 100%. This is up 200%. I mean, it's going crazy. Even more than 200%. But nonetheless, the Ronaldo, actually down from last sale, maybe the last couple. This sale is really weird, though, because it sells for 3K on auction, but then gets relisted and goes for 4.3K. I don't know if someone was really excited to pay $1,300 more on the next time, but, you know, some questions there. 9.5 did sell previously. This was a min gem. The other one, I believe, is a quad gem with 4 9.5s. Yeah, so this is technically a better graded card, and it sold for $500 less, which is certainly a bit of a fall. But in April of last year, PSA 10 was, you know, 3.7K. I personally sort of think of BGS 9.5s as almost half of a PSA 10 at this point. I don't know if that's fair, but if PSA 9s are a third of PSA 10s generally, then I think BGS is closer to a 9 at this point than it is a 10. And so that's sort of how I value it. If you agree, or at least, you know, think that that's reasonable, 3,700 here would mean the 9.5 was about, you know, let's just call it 2K, be nice. And now it's, you know, 4.5, which is certainly a jump, but it's not like a ridiculous jump, I guess, in the world of, you know, modern Messi and Ronaldo. Above that, Sapphire Yellow Erling Haaland. There'll be a nice... we'll talk about the Lamine Yamal. I mean, I'll glance over the Lamine Yamal now. We have a rookie Zebra. I don't know where Zebra lands in the hierarchy of animal print parallels, but I think it's pretty desired. PSA 10 here certainly would indicate it at 5,300 basically. Pop one at 8, and of course the man of the hour, you know, gonna pull big numbers. If you want to mentally replace this Lamine Yamal Zebra with this Haaland, I think that's an interesting thought experiment. So you have a Topps Museum out of 25. It's a sticker auto with a non-associated patch. Pretty nice patch, actually, though. This set has a lot of blank patches, so to get something like this is pretty decent. Granted, unassociated. You have him doing his initials there very nicely. And then on the back, I always say that's initials. I just assume. I mean, Erling Braut Haaland, isn't that? Okay, so that looks like more of an R to me than a B, but whatever. Anyways, the back, the relic is not from anything. And the signing is witness. So at least you have that. But This in an 8.5 grade with a 10 auto compared to a gold bubbles in a 9.5 grade compared to a sapphire 10 yellow out of 99, which is color match. Gold bubbles is also color match. A lot of things are going on here. I had a really tough time with this, and I don't even know if I've really come to a conclusion even at this point. Like, it's an interesting thing because the Chrome the Chrome UCL isn't necessarily the desired rookie. It seems like the Bundesliga is more so, and there's a lot of factors that play into that. I don't think that holds true for other players, but I think Haaland was pretty unique in terms of his releases. And, yeah, I mean, I don't... And you have the weird, like, sapphire yellow, which is higher print run, I would assume, than chrome gold bubbles, but, like, sapphire yellow is a little bit of a better parallel in my mind, and it's a 10. I personally like the sapphire yellow over the gold bubbles. Maybe that's a bad take. Maybe the gold bubbles is actually like super short print to 10 and I should care more. I just wish they gave me the number. It is a pop 1 of 1 then higher. I can't pick a gold bubble card for the life of me. I'd probably take the auto just as a cop-out, but, you know, I like the sapphire a little bit more than the gold bubbles. I'll throw it out there. Alifa next to it, Pele, SGC1. If you know the pop run, or the print run on the gold bubbles, let me know. I'd be interested. Maybe I'd change opinions. 1958 Alifa Pele and SGC1 goes for $6K. This is a pretty decent sale because, as you can tell, I mean, it's not clearly a good copy. It's very well rounded, very well loved. Big old, I don't know, it looks like a chocolate stain almost. Or I think these might have been in some sort of cartridge. I don't know if it was tobacco, but I don't think I see that type of stuff ever. I'm pretty sure they came in their own little like mini set. I don't know what they were sold with or if it was just a thing on its own. Probably should be more aware. But you never see them really looking this bad with like marks all over them. So it's a bad copy. It sells for $6K in a SGC1, which is actually decent. I think a PSA 1 recently that looked really good did like $9K. So, you know, certainly a discount to be had here. $6,900 on this 2013 Icons 1 of 1 Messi. The 2013 Icons Messi set is a set with all Messi and basically just tons of pictures of Messi. And every single card has a 1 of 1. And it is unique and it is cool, but it's certainly not quite as cool, I would think. I mean, you see it in basketball in like the 90s, where MJ will have a lot of parallels and a lot of 1-of-1s and a lot of that rare stuff, and it doesn't get the same premium in sets where it's just him. But this is an early set for Messi. I mean, it's before Prism, it's before Chrome, so if you want to take that route, you could certainly sort of talk yourself into really liking these cards. I think they're cool cards. I'm not sure where they fall into things, but ultimately collectors will decide that over time. So we'll find out. $6,900 here was a good sale. PSA 9 for the card grade. In terms of past sales, a recent one here did $3,700 of him signing this jersey. We have this PSA 9 actually doing 4K as well, just on auction on eBay in August, where Messi was sort of ramping up, but hadn't quite ramped up all the way. This is a pop 1 of 1. You got to be careful for those. But like this one went for $1,300 last year, and you know, you can see why it gets a good discount. I mean, it's just like a picture of him drinking like a cappuccino or something. It's a little odd, but at the same time, you know, if you're a big Messi guy, to get 1 of 1s from a set that only he's in and sort of very early days, I can understand. I mean, back in the day, you had some big sales, a 9.5 here for 2.4K. This one apparently went for $13K. Feels super strong compared to anything else we've seen, but all to say, it's certainly a strong sale, but I don't know if it's ridiculous at the same time. You know, I mean, you got tons of other stuff that you could certainly make a case for why you'd want it more. There's tons of ways to make a case for and against it. I just think it's certainly unique and fun to see sell. $7K there. We have a red sapphire above it for Messi, so a very modern, you know, sort of comparison. Clearly, Red's doing big numbers at this point. It really feels to me like over the last 6 months, they've taken a massive step up. Same thing, maybe a little bit lesser degree with like Gold Panini and even like Gold Topps Chrome, stuff like that. I really feel like that modern stuff's done well as of late, and this pricing would, you know, push that narrative forward. $7K for a PSA 10 red. I can tell you a 2019 first year Sapphire red and a PSA 9 last year was doing like 2 to 3K. Which would assume a 10 was about that price for first year Barcelona days PSA 10. And so now it's, you know, fourth year PSG days, and it's getting the same price basically. So just sort of a, I don't know, ideological comparison in terms of what's going on here. Beyond that, Gold Wave Mezzanine Estival PSA 10 goes for 6,900 there. Numbered out of 10, of course, as well. Pop 1 of 2. Kylian Mbappe 2018 Kaboom Rookie. We'll have another 2018 Mbappe to talk about here in a second and be able to roast apart the rookie moniker. I'll never understand it. He has 2017 cards. He's in one of the biggest sets in modern soccer, 2017 Chrome, all over the place. You know, you don't have to make up the 2018's a rookie. Ultimately, I think that when people say 2018's a rookie, what rookie is really saying, what they want to say, is like cool card. They want to be able to post something in the title that says, this is a cool card, and this is it. But you can't just put in cool card, you have to put in rookie, or if you can make the case for it, you're going to do it. I don't think there's any case for 2018 to be rookie Mbappe. I think it's a cool year. I think he had, a great come up. But like if Luka Doncic won the NBA title in his third year in the NBA, they're not going to crown third year cards as his rookie. It's just ridiculous. It's asinine. And it's one of the few things I hate about soccer cards. I don't hate a lot about soccer cards. That is one of the few. Maybe I hate more than I think I do, but I'm not going to talk about it. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But take a guess. Is the Kaboom up? If you guessed yes, surprise, surprise. Here we go. Not an all-time high. Actually, in 2021, it reached 73.8. And now we're at 7,200. So getting back there. It did bottom at 2K and, of course, went on quite the run. Really, it's not up massively from like 2024 prices at like 4K. 75% is pretty massive. But in the world of soccer cards that have done really well in Modern lately, 75% might be, not ideal. But nonetheless, still a big number, 7,200 for a PSA 9. Above it, row of Messi here. Take your pick of the few. I think it's an easy pick for me, but we can talk through it. 2024 Topps Lineage Argentina, the King's Colors Red. So it is a red Topps, which, I did just mention. I guess it's technically Red Tango, which is a little different. This PSA 9 sticker auto with a match worn patch, actually. This goes for 7,800 there. Next to it, you have a 1 of 1 2023 Immaculate Ruby Messi. This goes in a PSA 8 for 8.1K. And then finally, you have the Gold Laser out of 15 World Cup Prism for 8.1K as well. I did look up the Gold Prism. Gold Laser, that is. And this one did 8.1K. Last sale was PSA 10 for 19.8, which is, it's about half the 9.5 is. So that at least seems somewhat close. And then a 9.5 sold for 3K, basically, in 2023. So certainly up, almost double, not quite, but sort of getting there. And back in 2022, 10s were doing 6 to 10K as well. So certainly a strong price here being paid, but of course Messi's up a lot, and so I can understand that. I would imagine the other two here are also doing strong prices relatively to where they've been. The watchers, at least to me, tell the story of what one I would want. 129 watchers on that Prism. Yeah, no, I'd take it. If the 1 of 1 Immaculate was match worn, you might be able to swing me. It's not match worn. I'm pretty sure it's not even player worn. I could be wrong on that. It might be player worn, but if it's not match worn, I don't care. And, it's not that I don't care, but I'm not paying premiums for it. I might get it if it's discounted or reasonable, I guess. But at this price point, I want something that matters somehow, ideally. And Gold Prism Laser, it is laser, but I think these matter, so I would take that. And then finally, top 3 for this week, we have 2 Messis and an Mbappe smack dab in between. So we start with the 2022 Topps Dynasty Lionel Messi PSG out of 5 patch auto. Of course, I could imagine this is actually match worn, which is nice. Topps Dynasty does say that. Sometimes they're not, at least from what people have sort of tracked down. But, a large percentage of them are, and they're portrayed as such. So, not from any specific match, event, or season. That's just one thing I wish they would change that. I wish, just like Futera, they still probably do it. Futera will tell you the exact match all this is from. And in a world where these patches are so expensive, man, the least you could do is just tell someone what it's from. I know it takes up a little bit of space on the back, but you got space, clearly. The nameplate's taking up half of the card. Make all that a little smaller, throw it on top, and tell us what it's from, And they probably don't want to do that because, truthfully, they're buying, kits from stuff that really didn't matter, like some preseason friendly in, Central America or something, and they're just like, well, we'll buy that, and it's match worn. So I get it, But man, it would be nice, just for the safety of mind for the person that buys it, to know that it is match worn. But that's me getting on my soapbox. I'll hop off of it and just say that still a good price. These are up a little bit. I feel like these were closer to 5 to 6K probably for a little bit of time. Certainly lower in the out of 10 version, but 8,400 there, not bad at all. Next to it, Kylian Mbappe out of 10. I guess that is interesting, like Gold Laser versus Topps Dynasty. Even though it's PSG, I might take Topps Dynasty, you know, I just might. But the Gold Laser is pretty compelling as well. Interesting to see the Watcher comparison too. Optic Gold Kylian Mbappe next to it, 2018. Again, I'm not going to go down the whole thing of rookie or not, but if rookie means cool card, well, why is it a cool card? And for me, in 2018 Optic, it's France kit or bust. For me, I think that's the cool nature of it. 2018 World Cup winning year, came onto the world stage and did the big thing and became the guy. Like, PSG kit doesn't do as much for me, but still a big number, 12.6K. It's not about me, it's about the card. Gosh dang it. Down from the last sale, which actually seemingly was a rerun because this ran a month later on the same platform. It would indicate to me that didn't get paid. Before this, an 8 did 4K, a 9 of the France kit did 4.8. Like, give me that all day. All day. Save yourself $8,000 to get a France kit. I mean, that's sort of my thinking. But nonetheless, last time a 10 sold, and actually sold seemingly 15.9 in alt in September, I believe. Yeah, for a nice margin higher, about 25% dip there on that copy over the last 6 months. And then finally, 2022 Eminence Gold Bar Messi. Which one do you want more at the moment? Gold or Messi? Is it better when you have both of them? Seemingly. 28.2K here. Of course, this is, I think it's 14 karat gold, which, isn't quite 24, but whatever. The gold isn't what's doing it here. It's the Eminence brand. It's Messi, and the gold's a nice little add-on. But actually, in terms of where these have sold in the past, I mean, this is the card that sold the highest. I guess if you number it out of 5, what if I take the 5 out of it? There's got to be a 1 of 1, right? This sold for more. Not finding anything. This does seem to be the all-time high sale for Messi Eminence. 28.2K. However, not the same copy. I don't believe this is number 4. Yeah, this is number 2. So number 2 sold for 26K in September of 2024. So actually not much of a bump there over the last 2 years. However, there was a sale originally, I think, for maybe the same number. Yeah, this is 2 out of 5, and this had sold for 11K back in 2023. So certainly up since release, but not up much from the last sale, which is, semi-interesting. I do think it's a bit expensive. I mean, clearly, at least for me as a soccer collector, I'd rather have a match-worn patch than a gold bar. But at the same time, I mean, the gold bar, it's kind of expensive. Would you? I don't know. But at least to me, collecting a gold bar is just a little weird. So, still tops the auction block. Definitely an interesting one to see run. And fun auction overall. I've gone really long on this one, so I'm not going to go through and tell you which one sold high or low, because I probably already made those thoughts pretty clear. But we'll look at next week and see what we got. So we start with a couple Bisses. Surprisingly, a 7.5 over the 8 for some reason at the moment. We have a Zinedine Zidane foot PSA 8, already doing a big number there. I think these were doing like 4K probably. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I might be wildly off, but that feels pretty strong, at least, this far away. Blue Messi, blue Lamine. We have a PSA 8, 82 Maradona, a Ruby Totti and a 9. Blue Cristiano Ronaldo Chrome, a Cyrillic Kylian Mbappe from 2018. That's a fun one. Decent grade on that Maradona Calciatore. Red Neymar. Definitely some fun stuff throughout. Pretty high grade titulares. And should be a decent auction block. Doesn't look as big as this week's, but they can't all be. But that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. As always, let me know any thoughts. What sold high, low, maybe something you snagged down below. And if you want some more videos like this, as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. Vintage Discord as well in the description. Do make sure to check that out. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day. And peace.